Yes, hello guys. My name is Ahmed Hali for the Unscripted Talks here in Dub Radio. So today, all I want us to talk about is about the Finance Bill 2025. I'm not going to talk about everything that's in the Finance Bill 2025, but I'm going to just touch on the most vital issues that I believe are of keen interest to any citizen within the nation. So, with me, there was a video that was done. It's a part of some news I picked from somewhere. That first of all, I want to show you how in the manufacturing sector, how the government is trying to make sure that they increase more taxes, hence by killing naturally the manufacturing industry, and that will be aiding so much of goods that are being imported from outside. Therefore, we'll be benefiting more countries more and the government other than helping the industries grow locally. Therefore, the government says that it is determined to have employment opportunities created in the nation. But by doing this, remember, they are curtailing or they are depressing. It's a retrogressive move actually towards achieving, employment opportunities. Now, some of these you've seen in going or doing rounds in the social media, like the Information and the Communication Act. So, first and foremost, let me just dive into the information, the Finance Bill 2025 that talks about. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry about that. Just a little bit. I'm trying to get my slide that was to talk about the Communication Act, right? Yes, because we understand there is much that's gonna happen that is not towards our advantage. Most of it is going to work against us as Kenyans, and that is why we say reject. So, if it's your first time joining our live, kindly just subscribe and press notification button. So, anytime that we are live or we upload content of this nature, you'll be the very first person to be notified. So I just want to pick the pieces that I talk about. You know, I talked about Communication Act. Why am I not seeing them? They were pretty much here. Just a little bit. I'm just trying to pull them down. I got some dull copies, but I believe I'll try my best to. I'll try my best to decipher them. Okay, good. Here it is. Unfortunately, I'm unable to bring it so that you can see it, but I'll just read it for you. This is a bill that requires you to have a meet. Actually, it is saying the Kenya Information and Communications Amendment Bill 2025, a bill for an act of parliament to amend the Kenya Information and Communications Act, enacted by the Parliament of Kenya as follows. 1. This act may be cited as the Kenya Information and Communications Amendment Act of 2025. Section 2 of the Kenya Information and Communications Act, in this act, referred to as the Principal Act, is amended in the definitions of telecommunications operators by inserting the words and includes an internet service provider immediately after the operation or expression, section 79. Section 27A of the Principal Act is amended by inserting the following new subsections immediately after subsections 3B. Now, this is where the gist of it gets all. So make sure that you concentrate on this so that you get really to know. 3C, an intent service provider shall operate a meter billing system which shall A, assign to each customer a unique and an identifiable meter number. B, monitor customer usage. C, convert customer usage into readable details. D, create invoices create invoices. E, allow for user verification of invoices. 3D, an internet service provider licensed under this act shall submit to the authority at least once in every financial year information on the billing system, including internet meter numbers issued to subscribers. The fifth schedule to the Principal Act is amended by inserting the following new paragraphs immediately after paragraph 2, which says, upon coming into force of this act, all licenses and registrations held by internet service providers shall remain valid until the expiry, and subsequent licensing and registration of internet service providers shall be issued under this act. Now, you see, the way we have meter bills for electricity or water services, it is the same proposal that is being made to make sure that we use, that we use meters for internet, such that they will get to know who is registered under these meter. So your freedom of speech will actually be curtailed. In what manner? Right now, we can see extrajudicial killings and state-sanctioned abductions. Even the latest one being Rose Njeri, the 35-year-old lady, the activist who just did a website of Reject Finance Bill 2025, whereby he was just trying to give a civic education on the issues he feels are so demeaning to the common mwananchi and are included in the Finance Bill 2025. And by the way, this Finance Bill is so oppressive even as compared to the one in 2024. So actually, this new amendment bill tabled in Parliament, it has been sponsored by Aldai Member of Parliament, that is Mary Ann Kitanyi, who distributed some poisonous sugar to public schools in his constituency some days back. So again, he has sponsored this bill in Parliament to regulate internet and social media. So as I have said, the bill proposes to introduce unique meter numbers for all Kenyans or Kenyan internet users, allowing for real-time monitoring of internet usage and also sharing of this data with the Communications Authority of Kenya, that is CAK. So one of these, the most controversial element in this bill is also for the potential for future taxation based on individual internet usage. So this made possibly by the internet meters. So there is no way you'll be able to justify that you can be filing nil returns, yet your internet usage runs to thousands of shillings. You understand? So again, this is going to push hard the common citizen. Additionally, now the bill seeks to restrict social media usage to Kenyans aged 18 and above. So meaning your kids will be unable to use internet unless otherwise. It also pushes for mandatory linkage of personal identification numbers. So for you to log in into your Facebook, for you to log in into your Twitter, the X platform, for you to log in into your TikTok, any social media account, you'll be required to give your identification number. So it will be so and so using this service. Anything posted in your platform, you'll be liable for it. So this will effectively give the government full visibility into every Kenyan's internet activities. I don't know what you think about this. I don't know what's your take on this. You can give me your comment in the comment section below, because we understand the government right now is actually making sure that it presses hard the common mwananchi. I don't know how we are going to survive this. And now the government is now getting into the industries. By the way, they told us there were no increment of taxes. But you see, when you dig deeper into this bill, you realize there are certain issues that are hidden. You understand? And in this interview that I'm just about to play, you'll realize that the way we've been having a pathological liar as a president, it is the same way that the person responsible for introducing the industrial bill is trying to woodwink, the manufacturers. Anyway, let me not talk too much. Let me play this video. I believe it is here. Let us take time and listen to it.
Import duty, you are hitting us with a whopping to 35% import duty on the paper.
The manufacturing sector in Kenya is on the brink of collapse if the finance bill is passed in its current form.
What you've effectively done is said, shut down manufacturers, move to import. That is what this law says.
The Kenya Association of Manufacturers (KAM) warns that the sector, which had already declined from 7.6% to 7.3% in 2024, is under serious threat.
Your revenue actually is on this issue around illicit. Kenya has become a transit platform and also a destination for illicit product.
During the final day of stakeholders' engagement on the Finance Bill 2025, the Association of Manufacturers reiterated concerns over packaging bags, particularly for tea and coffee, which are fully manufactured locally in sufficient volume.
Inclusion of packaging materials for tea and coffee in the exempt category.
But our understanding is that they are moving from vatable to exempt.
That's correct, but it does not assist us because once they're exempt, we cannot claim back the VAT. And we have to pay the VAT. So the VAT...
So you will prefer to remain vatable than to...
Absolutely.
They cautioned that removing VAT on these products without a refund mechanism for input VAT will lead to increased production cost. KAM stresses that local manufacturers are burdened with over 65% in taxes to import raw materials for packaging, while finished imports are taxed at only 4.5%.
Import duty, you are hitting us with a whopping to 35% import duty on the paper.
Plus 10.
Plus another 10 export promotion levy. I don't know, it doesn't make sense. You can't call that an export promotion levy. That is an export
Yeah, I just decided to replay it so that you could get the real gist. I want you to get this point, and that is why I want to also replay this clip for the second time. Yeah, and before I play it, let me just disable the loop. Let me disable the loop. I think I had stopped it by mistake because the manufacturers are saying actually, you are trying to kill us, the manufacturing industry here in Kenya.
Import duty, you are hitting us with a whopping to 35% import duty on the paper.
The manufacturing sector in Kenya is on the brink of collapse if the finance bill is passed in its current form.
What you've effectively done is said, shut down manufacturers, move to import. That is what this law says.
The Kenya Association of Manufacturers (KAM) warns that the sector, which had already declined from 7.6% to 7.3% in 2024, is under serious threat.
Your revenue actually is on this issue around illicit. Kenya has become a transit platform and also a destination for illicit product.
During the final day of stakeholders' engagement on the Finance Bill 2025, the Association of Manufacturers reiterated concerns over packaging bags, particularly for tea and coffee, which are fully manufactured locally in sufficient volume.
Inclusion of packaging materials for tea and coffee in the exempt category.
But our understanding is that they are moving from vatable to exempt.
That's correct, but it does not assist us because once they're exempt, we cannot claim back the VAT. And we have to pay the VAT. So the VAT...
So you will prefer to remain vatable than to...
Absolutely.
They cautioned that removing VAT on these products without a refund mechanism for input VAT will lead to increased production cost. COM stresses that local manufacturers are burdened with over 65% in taxes to import raw materials for packaging, while finished imports are taxed at only 4.5%.
Import duty, you are hitting us with a whopping to 35% import duty on the paper.
Plus 10.
Plus another 10 export promotion levy. I don't know, it doesn't make sense. You can't call that an export promotion levy. That is an export demotion levy. Okay? Then your RDL has gone up.
Listen. There is no way you could say that you are. There is this issue of VAT and also exemption of tax. Now, by the way, as per the new proposals, there will be no goods that are exempted from VAT. So the manufacturer is saying, how are we even going to claim, these taxes or exemptions? So there is just a term that they're trying to play with to sweet talk you, the common mwananchi. Anyway, let us now dive deeper into other issues that are actually of also much importance as also the ones that we've already discussed. Now, do you know you'll be required to pay taxes whenever you bring a newborn in this world? It is called neonatal tax, tax on newborn care. Oh my God. We had Linda Mama during the Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta's era. We never saw such kind of gimmicks happening. Now, we also have diaspora remittances levy. This is tax on money sent by Kenyans abroad. Like if you have a cousin, if you have a dad somewhere, an uncle, any family member, a friend who requires to send you money into Kenya, they will be taxed. Mark you, that money is already being taxed from the service providers of the transaction channels. It is already being taxed. And those people also remit taxes to the government. So some double taxation is going to happen there. Fuel levy. Every liter, the government will be taking 10 shillings. In every liter that you purchase, the government has an additional of 10 shillings on top of it. Therefore, the impact will be increase in fuel levy. Mobile money levies, 1% tax on payments. Now, apart from whatever you pay for transaction, an additional tax will be put. Therefore, an increment in transaction of mobile money. Right. VAT on all products. I'd already touched on these. There will be no more tax exemptions from any product. Every product that you use and consume will be taxed. Pay as you earn raised to 37.7%. Now, this is touching on you who are employed, and your pay slips are under siege. Your pay slips are under attack. Why am I saying so? Imagine your taxable salary that you have will be out of it will be taken 37.7%. What are you working for? So for high earners, 25% minimum. Mazingira tax or eco tax. This is a levy on nearly all goods. Oh my, be it plastic bags, be it gunias, almost everything. Green levy tax, sugar tax. Oh my God. 5% agricultural tax on tea, coffee, and avocado sales. Anything that you are trying to touch for you to survive as a Kenyan is actually being taxed. Now, if you plan to someday own land, someday buy land, someday construct a building, someday do any land transactions, this is for you. You are a landlord, you are a landlady somewhere. This is for you. 10% on land rates and idle land. So if you have land somewhere and you are not developing it, you are not doing anything on it, you'll be required to pay 10% tax on landowners. Good. It is for you to decide as Kenyans whether that you'll advise your members of parliament to make sure that they are rejecting these or they are passing the bill. But we are watching them anyway. We are watching you. Internet access levy, had already talked about this. 15% tax on bundles, an increment in internet bundles. Oh, should I go on? I mean, this is a good definition of government applying bado hajakufa kanyaga shingo. They are still breathing. Suffocate them. That is the best definition I can give of these government. That is the best definition I can give about them. Yeah. This government wants to make sure that we are dead completely. We have nothing completely. We are down to the ground so that we can always be depending on them. What an oppressive regime. The other day, we saw them launching the Makasembo project, what they call the affordable housing in Kisumu, just after they did launch some in Mukuru Kwajenga in Nairobi. Yet we know the Kisumu one was a project started in Huru's regime by the Lab Fund, So even the one that they're going to launch in Homa Bay, those whenever monies from the house levy, in Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta's term, there was no house levy, but markets were being constructed, those affordable houses were being constructed. That is when these projects began. During Mwai Kibaki's era, we had free education. We had free primary education. Examination fee was being paid by the state. No kid will be chased home or sent home to go and bring fees for them to sit for examination. As we speak, the government is saying that the public office does not have enough money to fund the examinations of candidates. How pathetic is this? The education sector is crumbling. The health sector is here on its knees. The chief, the share, all these are just scams that the government is using. I don't know. These monies of them, some of them have been lost from the consolidated account. Remember, up to date, nothing has been done. Remember when we were told 1 point something trillion was withdrawn manually? And up to date, nothing can be accounted for it. In the e-citizen, monies have been lost. Nobody's talking about them. During the transition from NHIF to SHIF, what happened to the already made contributions by the people who were on NHIF? Does anybody know where those funds went to? Who is You know, my mic just, you know, the battery just went off, all I wanted to say is, who knows about where all these monies are going to? We have lots of monies that are getting lost in the counties, in the national government. Yet, there is nobody who will come gladly and tell us where all these monies have gone to. Yet, the government is bringing in a very punitive bill to make sure that it is punishing us even more vehemently. Therefore, Kenyans, as I end this live, kindly take time to reason with one another. Take time to give a civic education to one another. Tell a friend to tell a friend that if we continue this way, that we are going to get it all wrong. We need to make sure that these cronies, we are driving them back home. These cronies, we are telling them that we are the citizens of this nation and we need respect. Whenever, whenever, I don't know, whenever we say that the sovereign power belongs to us, most of people see us as people who are, we really don't know what we are saying. But it's the provision of the Constitution. The government wants to curtail our freedom. The government wants to take us to our knees. The government wants to make us poor. The government wants to make sure that we become beggars. What kind of government gives the punitive taxes to make sure that their citizens don't have a better life? Life does not only evolve around William Samoei Ruto and Raila Odinga. These are the problems that we've been having in Kenya. The old guard politician, all they do is to make sure that they have greed. We need to stand up against arms. We need to unite and reject the Finance Bill 2025, just as we did with the Finance Bill 2024. I know it's not going to be easy. It's going to be met by a force. But we learned from the previous attempts. It is a time for revolution. The streets are calling. The streets are calling loud. Where is Rosenjerry? If someone could be arrested for conducting civic education, if someone could be arrested for providing a platform where people will be giving their views on what they think about the finance bill, and she pinpointed out the specific areas that she feels the government is going to use to undermine the freedoms of the common citizen. Up to date, we know the law. When you are arrested, then the following day you should be arraigned in court for a specific charge. What law, with regards to our Kenyan 2010 promulgated constitution, did Rose Njeri break? I too, if I don't speak, I could become a victim. If you don't speak, you'll become a victim. So it is our time, we as Kenyans, we make sure that we hold the mantle to liberate this nation. For how long are we going to have people undermining us? For how long are we going to have retrogressive perpetrators taking lead of this nation and lying to us that they want to better our lives? No, Kenyans, we are better than this. There is one thing I learned from the previous revolution attempt that we had. When we lose our fear, they lose their power. It is therefore our time to make sure that we fight for this country. It is good to make sure that we fight for this nation. Otherwise, we are going to die so poor and in very, very bad hands of the so-called politicians. All they do is to amass wealth for themselves. How many billions are getting lost day in, day out? I was speaking about this in my previous videos. I've been talking about this. Dear ladies and gentlemen of honor, it is our time. The Gen Zs, the millennials. You know, personally, I'm a millennial. And we were brought up with a lot of fear. You know, when you talked about government, we had parents who would summon you and told you, you're not supposed to talk about that. You'll be arrested. You'll be jailed. You'll be tortured. And I remember I was one of those kids who were being seen as tough-headed. Why? Because I was never understood. I was never understood. Actually, personally, when I was wrong, I would run so fast to my mama and tell her that I've done one, two, three. But whenever I was not wrong, I will also not be afraid of saying it. I'll be saying, Mom, you are doing this, but it's not wrong. There are people, the Albert Einstein time and space kind of thing. There are people who live in this space, but their time is future. There are people who live in this space, their time is current now. There are people who live in this space, their time is past. Meaning, you introduce a smartphone to that person, they're so surprised. Now, the first person that I did talk about current space, future time, is the Gen Zs that we have. People who could be telling you of something that will happen in the future. You feel like it's very stupid. But let me tell you, a revolution is coming. We are going to have government for the people, by the people. True democracy will come and it shall work. We are going to take up these old guards out of the political scene completely. And they are sympathizers too. We don't need to leave them behind. If you are draining the swamp, make sure you drain it completely. Ladies and gentlemen of honor, I feel so heartened when a mother will be taking her children to the hospital to seek medication and they're not able to get it. People are living below the per capita per income. People are living below the dollar, between 0 to 99 shillings. These are the same people you want to tell them, give me 7,250 monthly for you to live in this affordable housing. These are the same people you want to tell, give me 1 million to buy this 20 square meter affordable house. I mean, are you reasoning? In the ghettos, we have people who live between 1,500 to 3,000 monthly rental. They are struggling to get it, and that is why they went to the shanties. You are here telling them to pay you 7,000. Where from are they going to get this? Isn't this a clear deception by the government? They want to eliminate completely the lower class, and by that, they are enriching the top or the high class, whatever it is. You haven't dealt with the issue of poverty. You haven't dealt with the issue of jobs. You haven't dealt with the issue of education. You are here giving us more punitive taxes, more and more punitive taxes. I mean, for heaven's sake, tell me why. Tell me why I'm supposed to pay neonatal tax. Tell me why. Somebody make me understand like a class 2 kid. Tell me why. I have to be double taxed whenever someone is sending me money from abroad, which is already being taxed by the transaction systems. Tell me why you government, you want to add 10 shillings in each and every liter that I'll be buying in fuel. Tell me why you want to give an additional of 1% tax on payments, yet we are already paying taxes on transactions. Tell me why. I want to understand. Explain it to me like a kid. Explain to me like that, how do we call an illiterate, unlearned? Explain it to me. Because until then, I'm not giving up in asking Kenyans to make sure that they stand up and fight for their rights. Anyway, Ahmed Khalifa is my name for the unscripted talks here in Dub Radio. If you are joining us for these live talk, kindly subscribe and press the notification button so anytime that we are live or we upload content of this nature, you'll be the very first person to be notified here in our unscripted talks in Dub Radio. What is your thought? Tell me where you're watching from. What is your thought about this finance bill 2025? The proposals that are made in terms of having you key in your ID number anytime that you log in to your social media, be it TikTok, be it Facebook, be it YouTube, any social media platform that you use, you'll be required to give your identification number. Two, you'll also be the internet meters. The bill is proposing internet meters. Yes, internet meters. So that you'll the way electricity has meters, water, have meters. It is the same thing that they want to introduce for internet. It will be used against you. What is it that the government fears so much from the common mwananchi? They don't want us to speak. That is the reality. They fear our power because the government has lost war on information. They have tried propaganda. They have not made it. Tell me why, when you try to criticize the government, the next moment, a Subaru with the DCI officers are there. State sanctioned abductions have become the order of the day. It is so disheartening. Guys, I'm almost reaching the end. I would like to get your views. I would like to get your views now that I am almost leaving. Yes, I'd like to get your views. For those who are joining, I'm sorry to have stolen you from the Madaraka Day issues in Homa Bay just to speak about these. Personally, I felt it was the right opportunity for me to share with you these. I believe we'll be having such sessions, not frequently because kinds of lots of activities that I do, but day in a day out, I upload videos with political analysis in our political landscape here in Kenya and also the entire East Africa. And if there's issue of importance I feel is happening within the globe, I also pick it up and speak about it. Let me take this time to thank you all who have tuned up and watched these live since we began until now. May the God bless you. Let me say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Ahmed Khalif is my name from the Unscripted Talks here in Dub Radio. Bye bye.